This episode was made by some fucking nerds. Massive nerds all over this episode. Captain's Pod, Stardate 717223.1. Welcome aboard the Starship's Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief short leave from the world of CinemaSins to explore the universe of Star Trek. I'm your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me as always, you may not know this about her, but she has 3 auditory processors. Her left ear, her right ear, and her final front ear. It's Ambassador Deneé.
Ian, how long have you been sitting on that one?
That was amazing. I had this joke so long ago. It's so bad. Such a dumb joke. Bad. But I was trying to come up with a cold open, and I just thought, okay, something about like 7 seasons and 4 movies and then another 3 seasons, exploring the final front ear.
It's time. It's time for the frontier.
Let's do it. We're starting Picard season 3. Let's open hot.
Wow.
Oh man, I'm amazed I managed to get through that in one take. That was, I did not expect that.
People don't understand how frequently we think that we're so funny.
I am funny.
Isn't it normal though? You know, you're hanging out with your friends and you say something that's funny and then you just like dissolve into laughter. Isn't that normal?
Yeah,
or are we just like...
No, that's normal. You can't even get through the sentence. And before you know it, you're both just in fits of laughter and nothing's been said yet.
No, but you do think you're really funny.
No, I don't. Right.
No, I do because I am.
Right, let's do it. I'm not going to speak on behalf of you. I'm so fucking excited. We're doing season 3 of Picard finally. So much hype, much excitement, much build-up. This has been, like, I know you're probably not as in tune with Trek Twitter, but the, like, reviews of the people that have seen this show already are, like, through the roof. It's already 100% reviewed on Rotten Tomatoes. It's getting just all of the love and accolades, and I'm so excited for this, and I have high hopes. Deneé, Ambassador, are you excited for this? After a rocky season 1 and even rockier season 2 of Picard.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you want to do a bit of a recap?
Well, that's going to be part of how I'm feeling is I'm reflecting on my experience, and I have, unfortunately, at the recording date at this moment, my reality is that I have launched so much of what happened in season 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
That I may be watching this episode going, oh yeah, like more than I want to.
I don't know that you will.
Okay.
Based on what I know, I feel like they've jettisoned most of season 1 and season 2 as well.
So then my curiosity remains, like, is anything important from season 1 and season 2 that we do need to know? And we don't know that until we get into the show. So maybe we don't need to recap as much as after we watch it, we'll tie the threads back into something that happened in season 1 and 2.
Try and fill in some gaps for you.
Because we could spend an hour talking about how we felt Picard 1 and 2. And then it's completely irrelevant to what we're watching.
It doesn't relate back to any of this. I have thoughts about decisions that were made in season 1 and 2, and I think maybe they needed the bedrock of season 1 and 2 in order to make season 3 happen. I have a feeling I'm going to be wishing this was season 1 and that we get 3 seasons of this, but I'm doing this based off of like images and interviews. That's it, nothing else.
So here's what it felt like to me. Just if I was going to summarize season 1, it was an homage to Data, and season 2 was an homage to Q. So season 3 should be an homage to Picard.
You would hope.
With whom the show is about.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen...
And season 2 was kind of that because we got Picard's origin story that we didn't really need or ask for with his mum and dad and that stuff.
I wonder if that'll grow on me as time goes on. You know, having now spent... It's interesting because this show started with Picard because that's where like our connection point of our interest in Star Trek started together. And now having watched what they did with the mother stuff and having watched more TNG, in our in-between seasons, I do think that that's more interesting now to kind of think about what makes Picard's character have more depth than they were able to show on the show.
Let's ditch this and just rewatch season 2 then. Let's go. That's it. Season 2, episode 1.
But it was still out of place. It still felt like it was...
For sure, yeah.
It just wasn't expected. But the framework for Picard 1, is talking about really interesting intrigue and Starfleet political stuff and the rights of the android and alternate timelines and stuff is beginning to switch us into these. It's interesting what they're doing. I do wonder if season 3 will tie back in at all, or if they're going to go back into adventures, because I have seen pictures of an assembled crew and it is impossible to get excited about whatever I'm about to watch. I am so excited. I cannot wait to see that,
oh my goodness,
like Worf and Geordi. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I don't know if they're going to be straight up here, but I got to see Deanna Troi and I got to see Riker already, and that was wonderful. 7 of 9. What's her name? Guinan.
Yeah.
Data, obviously. So there's characters that I loved being able to connect with, but there's nothing quite like that picture of Worf with white hair. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's his voice as well. Worf's voice is so commanding and reassuring. Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited to have the whole crew on an adventure together. Season 1 did a lot for me. It answered a lot of mysteries that were set up in the final Nemesis, the final TNG movie. It expanded the politics of the 2390s really well. That's kind of what I wanted. And season 2 was such a hard left turn. And I don't dislike it. I like a lot of it, but it kind of felt like a step backwards away from what I wanted to learn about, and loved the Q stuff, but the rest of it I was like, it's an alternate timeline, doesn't matter, let's go. And now season 3 feels feeling like we're back to picking up from where season 1 ended. And yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, what is the reason that the crew gets back together? Why does Picard need to call this specific group of professionals out of retirement or whatever? And I'm curious what they're going to do with it. And knowing that isn't this Patrick Stewart's this is it. This is it. This is no more. And that makes it feel even more high stakes, I guess.
It really does.
I don't know. It's kind of like watching Gandalf on Lord of the Rings and being like, you're
so fragile.
You're doing such a great job, but I want you to sit down.
Yeah. Please rest. The interesting thing, I mean, you mentioned about pulling this crew together for season 3, is that he explicitly said in season 1, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get in touch with Worf. I'm not going to disrupt Geordi because he has a family. I'm not going to put them in harm's way. So what is it that is making him put that to one side and decide, no, I need this geriatric crew back together? I'm excited for it either way.
I want it to make sense, but I'm also totally willing to not care to enjoy watching it.
Totally agree.
Because having watched a lot of TNG last season of this podcast, you do have to just kind of go, we're just going to make some sweeping assumptions and just move on because of time restraints and whatever. So I feel like maybe they did a good job. They massively lowered our expectations in season 1 and 2. And now we can just go out with a bang, I just for the record, I still like them, but I 100% I do like them too.
I get it.
I do like them too.
Okay.
I think that they were well done, for the record.
And they're beautiful. They are to look at. Yeah. They are beautiful as well. Really, really quickly, way back, months and months ago. In fact, when we finished season 2 of Picard, you had some predictions for what happens in season 3. Now, this was before I corrupted you with a trailer, which I'm 99% sure you've already forgotten. But here's your predictions for season 3 after having just finished season 2. Number 1, Riker and Troy's kid going on an adventure with them and the crew. So this is the forest girl.
Yes, my little forest.
Aladra?
Get it. Say it.
Damn it, I don't know. Aladra?
Clearly.
Kestra! I did it! Yes! Sorry.
Wow, that was really excited, and none of us believe you didn't just look it up on your computer.
I didn't just look it up. My God, I'm not that quick at typing. You would have heard. And I'm not a good typer. Okay, number 1. And then number 2, quite simply, another android. That's your prediction. Number 3.
Besides Picard himself?
Beside the golem that is now Picard. We don't talk about that. Agnes and the Borg come back, but Agnes is done with the Borg. She's had enough.
I like that.
Number 4, and this is the final prediction. Worf's children return. Plural! We know he has one.
We do. Yeah.
One.
Okay. Wow.
Do
This
you
is
stand
exciting.
by those predictions?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Do you want to add any predictions?
Oh my God. Oof. I predict Geordie LaForge will be here.
Mhm.
No, I've been corrupted. I've been corrupted now.
Mhm.
I can't trust that the images that pop into my mind are not there because I've been compromised.
It's possible. It's very possible. I think we are going to do a prediction section at the end of the episode, but we will tie it more into what we've seen this week and see if we can guess where the adventure is going to go and what's going to happen, and just be kind because we did watch the trailer, and yes, the captain should not have done that. He apologizes.
Oh, an official apology?
An official apology.
On
A
record?
Diplomatic immunity. Okay, with that, let's go. Season
To the
3,
10 forward.
episode
No,
1,
wait.
to the holodeck, to watch
To the
the
holodeck.
episode, meet you people in 10
You.
forward.
Go.
To beam out. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode. We just watched together. Most important question first. What is your beverage of choice?
The condensation dripping off of Beverly's chamber.
Oh, you're such a kinky bitch. Space condensation. I want a glass of Malbec that I can directly pour onto
Shaw?
Captain Shaw's lap, because no one likes Malbec. Malbec is a dusty turd of a wine. It's terrible. I knew he liked Malbec from the second he arrived.
I didn't know what Malbec was at
It's
all.
just a type of wine, like Chianti
Now I
or Rioja. I can't name any other red wines.
You've named more red wines than I've ever heard of.
I feel quite
I can
happy.
name I can name Shiraz.
Shiraz, yep.
Oh, Shiraz? Is it Shiraz or is that your accent?
Yes.
Because I've always said I've always heard it was Shiraz. Like
I think it's Shiraz. I'm pretty sure it's Shiraz. Merlot, that's another one.
Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all I got.
You got the white wine as well.
I know that there's is Riesling a
That's
type?
a white wine, Riesling.
Okay,
yeah.
so there we go. I got that one. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, Pinot Grigio.
Pinot Grigio. This is exactly, you came here for wine chat, obviously. Deneé, I am so fucking excited to get into this. Synopsisize us, please.
Oh, fuck. Are we doing that this season?
Yeah.
Really?
Until you start expecting it.
Oh my God. Okay. Woo. When am I going to catch on? This is the thing now. In this first episode of season 3 of Picard,
So far, so good.
join people that we know. Really,
And some that we don't.
and some that we don't. How would I summarize all of this? I mean, the easy thing is what I'm trying to do something different than what you would read on any of the recap.
That's exactly why I
sources.
throw it over to you.
So I would say, like, in this episode, we learn just how old the bodies feel for Picard, the golem, and Riker, the human. And we're injecting geriatric jokes on geriatric jokes. We're attempting to do illegal things while pretending that we're doing illegal things, but not doing illegal things. We are playing the game Portal, but deadly. And also, I'm pretty sure in this episode, it is revealed that when Beverly was fucked by the ghost candle, she had a love child.
No, that's not what I'm nixing that right now. It is not the child of the ghost fucking episode.
I mean, where did it come from? Where did this person come from? If not from this
million different ways that kid could have arrived. So many.
Listen, it's the only thing that makes sense. You asked me to do the synopsis. I am giving the synopsis of this episode.
Apologies.
Also, thank God those communicators have batteries, because if not, Beverly would be super fucking dead. And Picard would, instead of going off to finally get to spend time with someone that he loves, he is now off on another adventure that will take him to the edge of the unknown. And fuck Shaw. Okay, that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, that too. Nice. Yeah, I mean that covers it. Wow. What a opening episode, man. This episode was made by some fucking nerds. Massive nerds all over this episode. I have got so many thoughts, but Deneé first. Overall thoughts and feelings, not necessarily specifics. Did you like episode 1 of season 3?
Oh, of course I liked it. This was a wonderful episode. Yeah. This is packed with nostalgia and peppering back in some intrigue. It introduces characters, plots, and visuals that will make sense to any Star Trek fan and maybe even new Star Trek fans as well, because even though this is like hitting all of the nostalgia service for any TNG fan or anyone who watch, like, you don't have to watch Picard season 1 or 2 to start right here in this story that they're presenting to us. There's nothing that came from that happened in this episode that would have been confusing for me. I mean, Rafi maybe would be a character that I wouldn't know very well had I not watched season 1 or 2. But even then, you can easily figure out what kind of a character she is based on how they introduced her in this one. Yeah. So they've kind of shown us who's involved at this point in season 3, and they're kind of bringing in the intrigue of, clearly the undertone is that Starfleet isn't the Starfleet that we know and love, and there's some shit going down, which is not new because they kind of did that in season 1 and 2. So that's still like a thread that's kind of going throughout. This idea of, who am I? I individually have instinct, but I have to take orders from somebody above me, and the rigidity of Starfleet maybe not being the good guy versus the good guys that are in Starfleet or were in Starfleet. So I think we're going to see a lot of that tension in this season. But I loved it. I loved it visually. I loved it. A lot of the back and forth between Riker and Picard was so fun.
Beautiful.
I love that they opened up with Beverly, totally unexpectedly.
Great cold open.
Kind of, just kicking some ass. And I also like that they kind of put Annika, right? Is that her name? 7 of 9, Hansen. Put her back kind of in a specific sort of contained role, and then separated out Rafi, because that relationship wasn't working for me anyway. And so I'm kind of nice. It's good to see some distance, honestly. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. What did you think? Because I looked over at you several times while we were watching, and I was like, oh, I think he's super happy.
And I know that there were like, the moments where I was really happy, I could feel you looking at me as well. I was like, don't smile too much. We're going to show your nerd is showing. My goodness, I really loved this, but in a way that makes me less nervous than I have been before. So, episode 1 of season 1 of Picard, every single episode that I liked made me nervous, because I was like, oh, I like what this is doing, but do I really like it? Like, I knew I liked the fan service. I knew I liked the stuff that we're seeing on screen. I wasn't too sure about the story. Same with season 2. Like, I loved the opening 2 episodes to season 2 with the Stargazer, the alternate timeline, the Borg diamond Volva showing up. Loved all of that, but I was still like, if we're going back in time, I'm not too sure. This feels comfortable. And I know sometimes you want to be pushed outside of your comfort zone, but for a swan song and a final victory lap, you don't do ridiculous stunts and you don't take risks on your victory lap. You do it and you wave to the audience, and everybody gets to see the famous driver and see the beautiful car, and there's no risk. Everyone's gonna just get through it. And I'm not saying that everyone's gonna get through this and they're not gonna kill somebody off, but this felt like a continuation. And so many people have said this on the internet already. This felt like a continuation of TNG, but a little bit darker, with the history of the interspersing 20 years that have come since the movies.
The paneling, like, that's on the screens,
oh my
is
goodness,
TNG
the updated
paneling.
LCARs, yes.
It's the same kind of graphic design, sort of soft lines that everything in this is TNG.
Yeah.
nostalgia.
Well, they brought back Michael Okuda, who designed the original TNG Okudagram, which is the soft rectangles and everything. Brought him back to update it with Dave Blass.
That's fun.
To make it red, blue, and darker.
I like looking at interior design just in general. I find trends to be interesting. Not that I follow them myself, but like I don't apply them to my house. I mean, if I was to take you on a tour of my house, my aesthetic is toys and clothes and shit everywhere.
It's the aesthetic of a 6-year-old.
Yeah. But watching the trends shift to like a grayscale for the home, it kind of reminds me like of what's happening on screen with Picard season 3. It's like they took TNG and then they modernized it by making it grayscale. So
yeah.
And it does liken to that theme that maybe Starfleet is darker, because this is a dark ship. Like the Titan that we're on, the main ship that we're on during this episode, it feels like a very not nice ship. Guys, there's no carpeting anywhere. This is
there's no beige. There is no beige on this ship.
Nope.
Beige
shiny black floors.
Beige is so 2360s.
It looks fucking badass, to be honest with you. It looks like something from the movies. It looks it's so pretty to look at. I mean, it feels dark and imminent and militant in a way that it used to maybe feel more like a family room. Yeah. Now we've shifted into like somebody's obsession with war.
And it might well be that after the insanity of the Dominion War, another Borg invasion, fucking stuff going on with the Romulans, maybe there has been, in the last 50 years, this shift from exploration into our ships need to be ready for battle. And that's how my headcanon kind of internalizes it, is that as much as Starfleet wants to be about exploration, 50 years of fuckery has taught them that we need to be ready for shit and we need to not be acting after the fact. Our ships need to be drilled and ready to go, which is something I would love a full 7 seasons to explore in the 2410s, where we actually explore why that is happening. But that's kind of how I justify it in my head, because the Enterprise D and everything was always so brightly lit and optimistic, and everything since has been battle stations.
Yeah. This one definitely amps it up, and it's definitely on purpose. There's a lot of things that this show is doing visually on purpose to place us in situations of discomfort or comfort, and those things work. They work to make the audience at ease, and here we're in a ship that is obviously unwelcoming with very welcoming visuals. And there's a conflict with 7 of 9 being a welcoming figure, but also really restricted and militant.
Goodness.
So
have I felt that with store managers in my retail career, and I've had bosses that are above them that come in and say, "Ian, you're doing great." I can see that you're struggling because your boss is a dick, but we can't remove him right now. Like I felt 7's pain so much.
I think they just did a good job in this episode of setting up a lot of the vibe. Now, I don't know how that's going to carry out from episode to episode, because they're doing something, they're not doing the episodic, like one story per episode thing that we see on TV. We're doing a season-long arc. Not only a season-long arc, it is the bookend to the Picard series. So they're clearly going to be telling us a story that they might not reveal until we see the finale, what they were actually going for. And of course, we're going to be making predictions and just reacting as we do along the way. And I'm really excited for it. But I thought they did a great job. I mean, overall, I was really thrilled with it. I made tons of notes. I just
so many notes.
Mindlessly wrote down everything so that I wouldn't forget anything. So we could literally talk about this episode for an hour and I'd be pretty happy with it. Can we talk about the beginning scene? Can we talk about it now? Like, what are we going to do? Captain, what are we doing? Captain, I'm so excited.
One final point on like not just like what I thought overall as a Star Trek fan, but as an episode of television, this is really efficient. It is well plotted. It has a mystery set up really, really well. A great cold open, great antagonist, a great ending. It just sets up a load of mysteries. I didn't feel lost. I feel like I could have dove into this without too much context as well. It's my biggest compliment and my biggest sin of the show overall, but we'll get to the sins later in the show. Let's get to the opening. Where did you want to start, Ambassador? What was it about the opening that you loved?
It had such a fun 80s vibe going on with even the graphic that just said in the 25th century.
Okay, let's start
like,
there. That's how the Wrath of Khan movie opens. It just says in the 23rd century ... And it's so weird. Like, we've seen it in the this was done way before I joined, but Jeremy and Chris seen it in the video, just like, well, fuck you telling us that for? Of course we know. Like, what do you mean? What happened in the 23rd century? But it's just it's a lovely little callback to like the old school font and just how like I think TV budgets and TV quality is so good now that this feels like a movie. And I mean, you can read so much into it, but I think it's the idea that this could be a movie that has been turned into 10 episodes. Or it could just be a nice callback. Who knows? But I love the retroness of it and the score that came along with it as well.
Yeah. The music in this was so good. Well, especially, I mean, I want to jump around, but especially when the ship is revealed later.
Oh my goodness. That ship reveal is so...
I'm such a geek.
But you're a nerd.
I'm such a nerd.
The score is pulled from The Wrath of Khan, The Search for Spock, First Contact, Insurrection. They pull out somehow my favorite themes and put them all into this episode. Tell me what you loved.
Well, I'm going to read the first 3 notes of my thing. Besides the 25th century, right, graphic that I liked. I wrote down pretty ship, red ship, inside ship. We start this episode with like a view of Beverly's ship, which I don't know what it's called.
I don't know. I can't remember what it's called, but it looks like an updated Steam Runner class.
Of course, yes, of course, everyone knows that. And then this like wicked looking little red ship like appears and it docks and it infiltrates. But when we go and the shot starts inside this ship, it starts with just like a whole bunch of collected paraphernalia, I'm assuming from Beverly's career. And it was very interesting because I feel like if I had time to stop, if I was like a super fan of Star Trek, I think this is one of those episodes where you would stop it and you would pause and you would absorb everything that you're looking at and you would know exactly what episode it came out of. It feels like it would be a set designer's kind of homage to the series because they had all kinds of little devices and knickknacks. They had plants and pearls and masks, and then they had an open log that was just auto playing Picard.
So that's from the Best of Both Worlds. So the Enterprise is hiding in a dust cloud, distracting the Borg ship. And Picard's logic is as long as the ship is chasing us, it's not going to be hurting anyone else. And it gives them a bit of time to do some repairs and figure out what's going on. That the Enterprise remains concealed in the dust cloud was the startup tone for the very first computer I ever had. So it was a time computer and you turn it on and as Windows loaded, it would be the Mutara Nebula and then Picard saying the Enterprise remains concealed in the dust cloud. So like it was like they pulled that out of my brain and I just got tingles. Aww. But why is Beverly listening to this random log? What is it?
She's not even, well, I mean, it looks like she's trying to outpace someone that's hunting her. So maybe she's using that as like her mantra to keep going.
Yeah, or maybe like, how did we hide from things in the past? I mean, and
she's just listening to it.
It does inspire the code that she uses because when Riker explains that it's from when the Borg hacked into their systems and added all of the threes, that's the same episode. So I understand that she's listening to that log that inspires the code, so she sends the communication. And yeah, maybe that's why she's like, I gotta hide. How did Picard hide us best? That's a great bit of logic.
Yeah.
I bet that's what it is.
I feel like these little bits and details is what will give a totally different flavor to someone who is as absorbed with Star Trek facts like you are. Like for me, I make that deduction without having understanding of like the reference of what show it's from and what happened in that show. But knowing those details,
well, I think that's evidence that they did it really well.
Yeah. It's just it's really, to me, we could sin it, right, and be like, why is this playing when she's not in the room? But clearly, they're setting the stage for just this, like panning. There was something about who's Jack Crusher, by the way.
That would be her husband. So that's Wesley. Sorry, her deceased husband and Wesley's father.
Did you see the container that was below? They pan on a table and then it pans down. And like the whole ship is kind of shaking a little bit, and this container is shaking. It says Jack Crusher on the top.
Oh, I missed that. I was too busy taking notes. Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know what all is going to be revealed about why Beverly is where she is, what she's been doing for 20 years, why she bounced out. It seems like maybe she bounced out because she was pregnant.
I mean, but why is she so angry about that? And I don't know, that guy seems older than 20, but I'm bad at aging people. I mean, the actor could be older than 20 and he's playing a 19 or 20-year-old, fine. But why would that make her mad? Because she cut off communications.
I mean, if it's Picard's son,
I think he would have mentioned that. I think that's a dick move if he hasn't mentioned that to anyone.
Let's just pretend for a second that Picard said something to Crusher about like not wanting to be a family man, and she's just like, you know what, cool, and she just bounces to go have a baby. I'm just saying it would be a really easy thing to reach for. Anyway, for whatever she's doing, whatever her motivation is, I would be interested to, at the end of this season, go back and revisit all of the paraphernalia in the opening sequence, because I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of it's very intentional.
Oh, so many
and like
nods.
little Easter eggs.
Yeah, I absolutely bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole ship looks like old school screens. And on Beverly's ship, the interfaces that pop up, it just is all TNG. And that was really, really fun. But yeah, so they're obviously like kind of like being hunted down. What did you like about this scene of like the infiltration? I mean, I didn't, what did you like about how the action sequence to start it off?
I really enjoyed it. I think it was a massive nod to, wow, we're finally going to give Beverly something to do. I think there is nothing you can do to redeem her absence from the movies, essential absence. How underused I feel the female characters were presented in TNG in general. You're never going to make that up with one season, but it's a pretty good nod, and it's a pretty good just opening to say, here she is, she's been through some shit, this is going to be a lot of her story as well. I love the retro phaser rifle that she pulls out. I have sins about it, but that's fine. But
we'll get to that.
This phaser rifle is just like the phaser rifles from the movies, and I love that so much. I'm such a nerd. But in terms of it's a really well-paced opening, because I want to know who the guy is that's banging on the door, that she's obviously protecting and doesn't want help from.
That's her son.
Well, we know that now. We didn't know that when the episode opened.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I was like, we just did the scene. Oh my god!
I'm like, who is that? Who are these mystery aliens? Like, when did Beverly get so good with a phaser rifle?
So you've never seen these aliens before?
That's hard to say with 800 episodes of Star Trek. They didn't immediately jump out as an alien that I recognized, no. So yeah, I don't know who they are. But it was nice to see. What I love about it is that she was being clever as well. Like, she's using her environment. She's looking for intelligent ways to get out of the situation as well. Of course, you've got your cliche countdown to warp drive being ready, because we can't just warp out of here. But for an opener and a mystery, I loved it. And it's so well shot. Just like that reveal of Beverly spinning round. It's dramatic as fuck. I really, really liked it. Really good opening, really strong. Because it allows you to then do the pondery thing with Picard in the next scene. And because there's an argument to be made that you could open with Picard being nostalgic, and then the communicator suddenly beeps and you get the message from Beverly. I think it's really ballsy to open. Bam, here's Crusher. She's in the ship. Let's go. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I loved it too. I think it's a really nice service for the fans, because we've been missing this character. And so we get to see her right away. There's no like, ta-da! Here's the reveal. It's like, just let's open with a strong woman with this awesome streak of white hair that reminds me of that character from X-Men. What's her name?
Rogue or Storm?
Yeah, which is one of my favorites, Rogue, because she could touch people and just...
Rogue's fascinating.
She is super fascinating. Anyway, and I also love to see women in different age categories do their fucking thing. Like Laris, isn't that her name? Laris?
Yeah, Laris.
She's really beautiful to me. It's like, look at that. Look at aging. I mean, everybody's aging, but it's nice to see it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. It's like, I'm tired of looking fucking beautiful, tiny little people that have plump skin. Like, show me some wrinkles.
In Hollywood and TV, as soon as you hit 30, you're resigned to being the mother or the grandmother. It is utter bullshit. Like, those roles it's very recently that we're seeing more of those roles just like become ageless. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
But it's neat that we have this sort of time to call back these actors and do something really unique. And I like how they gave her this space. The aliens were interesting. Like they did that, like the clicking, like kind of like thing. And I was like, what's going on? And she fucking disintegrates them.
Oh my god.
She straight up murders, and she should, because she's being hunted and life is in danger. But I had lots of questions about that, maybe more sinful questions about that. But I did have a question for you that I can ask now, which is, I think she was wearing like an old school coat. Did you recognize the coat she was wearing as some sort of...
No, it does look like it has a similar sort of design to the Wrath of Khan jacket. There's a lot of inspiration from the Wrath of Khan in this episode, especially like the new Starfleet uniforms have the fold down across patch thing. It did definitely feel like that, but it's not something I specifically remember. As far as I know, it's an original design. It's probably just, I mean, everything in this episode is inspired by older Trek.
I did like this moment. It seemed like she so she shoots this vent and like steam is coming down, and I want to watch this exact scene again because she busts out of this steam, and I think she just like tosses her hair off to the right and then evaporates somebody, and I just kind of want to watch it again. Be like, she has a split second to just blow her curl to the side to make sure she can see before she kills someone. I kind of love that.
Love that.
But yeah, so then she kind of sends this message, right? She sends this message out to Picard on this specific transmission, and then it goes to part 1, the next generation. How do you feel about seeing part 1 pop up on screen? What does that mean?
Oh, you mean the title of the episode?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, are they going to do the season in 2 parts?
No, I think it is.
Or is it just called part 1?
Yeah, I think this is part 1. Next week will be part 2, because I've seen a few of the episode titles.
Oh, okay.
And they do follow that kind of format. So I think there's like kind of mini...
each episode is going to be called part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think that it's going to be like... the only reason I can imagine you doing that is if you're like chaptering the entire adventure. It's like, this is a little story, and then it leads into this story, and then it leads into this story. And then it has an overarching
I'm really
thing.
curious.
Very curious how that plays out. Yeah.
As a writer, we have to think about how our final product is going to be absorbed by an audience later. And so I'm always fascinated for the purposeful reasons of titling things.
Yeah.
We do get to see, I think, was it Data's painting of the Enterprise really quickly too?
It's not Data's painting. It's a commissioned painting. I think it's from...
Oh, okay.
It's one that was hanging in Picard's office, or his ready room.
This kind of made me sad. How did this scene set up for you? Because for me, this scene is a combination of introducing Beverly's transmission to Picard because she needs help. But the scene actually starts with us sort of like inventorying Picard's collection because he's sending it off to a museum to be for artifacts, because he's kind of at the end of his life. He knows it, and he's going to be doing something different now. And so to me, the scene was like an homage to him sending off things that are memories for him, but then the show giving him the line at the end that says, "I'm not a man who needs a legacy. I want a new adventure." And I don't know, I felt like it was kind of the show giving the fans permission to go, like, move on.
Yeah, no,
so it's
I
kind of
think
sad.
I don't think that's accidental at all. It's very, very deliberate that it's Picard is packing up everything. This is the victory lap. It's time for us to maybe pack up some of this stuff as well and just enjoy this last season. We know it's going to be the last season. Okay, the characters may pop up in other media, but this is the swan song. This is the end for them. So pack it up. There's no going back, and enjoy it. And that is embodied in what Picard is doing. Is, I'm going to pack up this fan service stuff. I'm going to have an adventure. It's not the adventure he thinks that he's about to go on, but he's happy. And I think I have a feeling that we're going to get a happy ending for everyone. That would be my overall.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine?
So. Oh my goodness.
Jesus.
It'd be
if
unforgivable.
they fucking decided to do something insane.
You touch Geordie and I will leave. I will stop this podcast right now.
They reveal that he's been in pain the whole time. They just lied about it, and he's just been dealing with like this horrible
his eyes are still
pain.
in agony. Oh my goodness. I think the next thing I'd want to jump to is Picard. Picard obviously gets the comm badge, which I think we'll talk about more when we sin it, because it's really fucking sinful. But he reaches out to Riker and clues him in on what's happening, and that they need to find a way to find Beverly, which Riker obviously has the answer to. Now, how did you feel about the Riker that we saw here? Because this is different from season 1 Riker that we saw. Something's happened with Deanna and his daughter. What do you guess is happening? This seems like a more unstable Riker compared to the pizza in the yard baking wild Riker that we saw.
The writers are giving us permission to justify in our minds why he's willing to not be on this planet with his wife and his child.
Yeah.
And they do that by saying that how did they say it? I can't remember.
Oh, they would appreciate the break from me.
Yeah. Something like, yeah. So to me, that's like a really interesting and quick way to say shit's gone down. We all need a break from each other. And I honestly appreciate that. I mean, I think that we oftentimes want these characters to live in a bubble of beauty and love and happiness forever. And we forget that there are seasons to life, and sometimes you need a break from each other. And so whether it was, it seems like it's healthy, because it wasn't like he was saying, they could have said, Deanna and I have broken up, and that's why I have permission to be here. But instead it's like, I think that they'll enjoy this break from me for a minute, you know?
I have a feeling that it's, what I would have to guess is that when he turns up at the end of season 1 in is it the Zhenghe? He turns up in that ship and saves the day, and they have loads and loads of the same ship that turns up. He retired and then goes back into the service. I wouldn't be surprised if that taste of being in the captain's chair again made him really antsy. And maybe he's been a bit irritable, a bit moody, and not ready to retire as much as Deanna is. And if you're not honest and you don't talk about that stuff, it creates tension. So I think we'll find out that he's doing the thing that Deanna has been telling him to do, but he's been denying that he wanted to do it.
Well, and also when we went to the planet and we met with Riker and Deanna, and we found out that they had a child that had died, they talked about how Riker ran his household like a ship. Yeah. And it was very regimented. Mm-hmm. And so they did give us some details about how he is as a person, that maybe he would be better off in a captain's chair actively out there. But it's so fun for me because maybe in the past, writers would have said, well, there's no reason that a husband should leave a wife and a child unless it's a very serious situation. And they're just like, yeah, maybe we don't need that though. And so I liked it. I thought that it was fine. And I really enjoyed seeing the excitement and the light between Riker and Picard as they contemplated, the shenanigans that they were about to. But you can see it's like, Riker's like the little brother that's like, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Go, let's go.
Leading him astray a bit. But they both make each other seem 10 years younger. Like, they're so fun together. I love Riker's little summary of, great, so your wrist doesn't work and my knees are shot. Let's just hope we don't have to shoot anyone or run anywhere.
Or move. Yeah, or anywhere. Yeah,
I love it.
It's so fun. Yeah, they had really great quips.
Great banter between them.
For this. So good. So I didn't mind that. And I didn't mind that Picard would share information with him about Beverly, even though Beverly specifically said don't involve Starfleet. And then he immediately goes to somebody who's involved in Starfleet. I feel like there's an understanding between the two of them, a trust between the two of them.
Yeah.
And we've seen that in some of the episodes you've had us watch last season of Captain's Pod, where we got to see Riker and Picard's first interaction. And Picard was specifically interested in Riker because he wanted to know if Riker would disobey orders. So they have a history together, and that comes up with how Shaw talks to them as well. So,
well, that's a great segue into the Shaw of it all. What did you think of Captain Shaw of the Titan A?
I honestly like the character.
Me too.
Because
what does that mean?
There's something about the way that this person, I don't know who's acting. Do you know the person's
Todd
name?
Stashwick.
I really like how he is emoting this character.
He is intense. He is so
perfect. Like, the emotions that I'm feeling are mixed, and until he gets to the point where he's like Borg racist, I was super like, I like Shaw.
Yeah.
When he throws out that comment about Borg, and he has a Borg first officer, an ex-Borg first officer, I'm just like, oh, okay. we're supposed to just like hate this guy.
I don't know. I don't know if we're supposed to hate him. I think we are clearly supposed to be annoyed by him, and he's supposed to put every scene on edge. But the way there's some subtle things about the way that it's written where he's not wrong about anything. Yes, the Borg stuff is borderline racist, but I'm ready to believe that when we find out that the Borg killed his entire family, 5 generations of Captain of Shores have been killed. I am sure there's something there we're going to learn. But he's not wrong.
When did we learn about that?
No, we haven't learned about that yet. But I'm ready. I'm certain that there's going to be some history with the Borg with him.
Oh, I see. Okay.
How dare Riker and Picard like playboy themselves onto the ship and expect to like Captain Kirk their way into some bullshit mission, and he just like outs them immediately. Yeah. And he's like, "Yeah, you're legends. I don't give a shit. You're dinosaurs." And that's just a different point of view. Like, it's abrasive, but I'm just like, put them down. Like, they are being dicks.
He, for me, is a very fascinating by the book. Maybe it's because my family is one where if we get a board game, you read the rules and you play by the rules. Mm-hmm. So that way you can win by the rules. Like, the competitive nature paired with it being rule oriented meant growing up that rules were really important to me. I want to know my parameters. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So having a captain like that is so by the books puts me at ease, because it's just like, man, this is going to be a well-oiled machine. I know exactly what's expected of me, and I want to go in and I want to do it. And then I want to, clock out for the day. And there's something really intriguing about that I respect, because it is a little element of Starfleet that's important to remember, is that this is a series of people who have a hierarchy and there's rules and regulations. And it harkens back to Picard trying to do a lot of things with Starfleet in season 1 and being like rejected because they're like, dude, you don't have that kind of authority. No, I'm not going to go find out who Taj is with you or whatever, the setup. He was
You're retired. You don't have a ship with the same rank. Like, you've got
Picard.
You've been doing it longer.
Season 1 was uncomfortable because it was telling Picard kind of like maybe what they didn't want to do in all the time in TNG with like, no, you don't get your way. And it was a little over the top. Well, here it's not only from Picard going in trying to do something that we know he's doing well, but he is doing something he shouldn't be doing. And of course, we're like in for it. Of course, I want to see him succeed.
Yes.
And when he launched that shuttle, I giggled like a little girl. I mean, of course I want to see that. But he is very direct, unapologetic. And of course, I like that too.
This is my shit.
Yeah. So I liked Shaw, but I think it was, maybe I wouldn't like it if it was delivered differently, but I just feel like the actor is just singing. He is eating it up.
I wonder how much Todd Stashwick would change that if it was a different actor. Like, if it was somebody that was like, oh, you slimy bastard, I would be so annoyed, but I love him so much. And him and Terry Matalas, the writer of this episode, I think he did the directing, or at least some of the directing, they've worked together previously on 12 Monkeys. So they have a history of working together as well. So it's always nice when you can see, like, he knew that he was writing Captain Shaw as Todd Stashwick. Like, and I think when you know that ahead of time,
maybe
it
so,
sings.
yeah.
Like, it
you
works
can kind of
so
get it.
well. You can picture exactly how every line's going to be delivered.
Now, I don't want to give the impression that I like Shaw. I like how Shaw is. I do not like Shaw, the character, in these ways. Like, he's super rude. When he was eating before anybody showed up, I was like, oh my God.
Just
now
so
the
that
line
he could deliver that zinger. It's so good.
Yeah, what was it? It was like, your reputation precedes you so greatly that I was able, you already entered the room and I began eating or something. It was so clever.
Your reputation preceded you so much that you were like already in the room. So I started eating. I was like, my God, you've been sitting on that for decades.
It's a great line. It's a great
so
line.
good.
It shows that he's witty and humorous and unapologetic, but he's also really rude and disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his words say things like, I appreciate you, I care about you, I love what you've done, but I don't have time for it.
Yeah.
And
I purged all of your jazz from the system. I didn't just not listen to it. I deleted all of the jazz on the Titan.
Yeah. But it does seem, I don't know, he didn't meet them when they got on the ship. He's not really around very much either. I don't know. He's really hands-off captain, which maybe it's because they want us to see, Seven
Oh, for
in
sure.
that
Yeah.
seat of power, and so they're deliberately keeping Shaw off the bridge. But he's a weird character. I don't mind him.
We'll see. We'll see
I don't
where he
mind him
goes.
from a acting writing perspective.
Correct.
I do mind him as a character because he's a dick.
He's a great plot device. Well done. Perfect amount of time with him. Charismatic as fuck. I'm interested to see what happens to Captain Todd. Cool. Where do you want to jump to now? I guess I do want to quickly mention how awesome the ship porn was. My goodness, am I happy that we have a well-lit, I will say it again, a well-lit starship reveal, like in the huge starbase, glory shot of the Titan A little bit of it's a Neo-Constitution refit. It's just well done. Whoever put the pen to paper and made that something I could see.
It was really beautiful, and the music was beautiful, and the space station was
Leaving
beautiful.
the space station. Oh,
the planet in the background. That's
got
beautiful.
A warp 9. Oh, just the right amount of starship point. Yep. It's gone.
This warp sound is not like a zoo. It's a.
Well, they jumped straight to warp 9.99. They were like gone in the distance.
Like 5 feet from the space station.
It's gone.
I did really enjoy that moment when Picard was like, "Don't you think you should have learned engineering about this?" And she's like, "Oh, it's all automated now." I did like that.
Things have happened in the last 30 years. Don't worry.
Yeah, it was really clever.
Love that.
Before we go on to Metalis Prime District 6 to meet up with Rafi,
yes,
I do want to say that we didn't skip over it entirely, but before we get on in the show and then we get to our sins, I don't want to come back to this later because I do want to say it was really nice to see Laris again. I really enjoy Picard and her relationship.
All Brady. She's great.
She's going to be going to a planet. I don't remember the name of the planet. I don't know that it matters.
It's some planet somewhere.
Chaltalk 4.
Nice. Good. Well done.
And he's supposed to come along, and then of course he's going off on the Beverly adventures now. But he does there's a fun moment, in my opinion, between them where he's gonna donate this Enterprise painting, and she's like, I think I want that.
No, I like that. Don't give away.
There's this because she's kind of been the assistant feel, and now it's kind of shifting into ownership of his life in a way, like lovers in a way where she's invested differently, is what I interpreted that to be.
Yeah.
And then he goes to her for advice about Beverly and just their conversation in front of that fireplace, and she's got her bare feet and they're just talking. And I don't know. It's nice to see Picard in a loving kind of pairing with her. And I really like her as a character a lot.
I do as well.
And I find myself bummed that she's not coming along. Like the way that they used her in season 2 as the face of another being was interesting because then we got to see her, the character, like this beautiful actor. But I want to see this character. I want to see Laris with Picard. I don't know that it would work to have a loving person in every scene. So I understand the instinct to remove her, especially since there's other people kind of coming in that are going to take center stage.
Isn't it? They wrapped up a lot of people in season 2. I'm amazed that Raffi is still here, to be completely honest. As much as I love to see...
She's going to die, right?
I don't know. Maybe. I love to see La Serena, though. That ship. I love that ship so much. I'm glad they kept it in. But yeah, on the Laris front, she's incredible actor, incredible character. Wish we had more of that. Criminally underused in all of the seasons.
But it was good to see her. And I just wanted to say I really enjoyed seeing her. And I think it was in that moment that I looked down to see how much time had passed. And I was surprised to see how much time had already passed because I was already having fun. Like the Beverly stuff had kicked off and I wasn't feeling like it was slowing down. It was nice.
Well-paced, anyway, incredibly well-paced episode.
I thought so too. Yeah.
So we get to Metalis Prime and a nice little Raffi is undercover. We don't know that she's undercover. We think she's actually fallen off the wagon, but she is there.
I didn't.
Oh, no, that got me hook, line and sinker. And I was ready to sin it. I went straight to my sins and I was like, Raffi feels so out of place in this story. What is going on? Why do I care that she's fallen off the wagon again? More Seven drama. Really annoyed. So I'm sucked into this story. Wherever you take me, I'm there with you. My blinkers are on entirely. I will believe what you put in front of me, people. So the reveal that apparently wasn't a reveal that she's undercover, I was like, Oh, thank God, it's more complex than that. Yes, she's struggling, but it's not that we're following her in a struggle that we already saw in season 1.
I thought that they did it well. In my notes I wrote down we're in a place of dancing lights, and it's another bar, but this time we're in the streets. This is very Fifth Element, drugs and guns.
Yes, Fifth Element, Blade Runner. Yeah.
Yeah, it had that kind of vibe to it. And let's see. The all-knowing oracle of the underworld says something like
the Orion.
Rafi says my girlfriend left me and I just kind of fell off. And I wrote in parentheses, did she though? Because I just couldn't believe that.
Yeah, I couldn't.
They were going to just remove all of that progress. But then at the same time, it is a true story of people who hit a hard time and they go back to the comforts that they know will bring them peace. And sometimes that peace is really deadly. I have many friends that struggle with drug abuse and they get to a space where they're doing good and they're totally broke the habit again. And then something happens in their life and it's just that comfort and they go right back into what they were doing before. And it's a hard pattern to break. And so if they were going to show that struggle, I was like, okay, I can believe that. But why are we showing Rafi here on this planet? How does it tie into this main story?
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I can believe it. I don't know how it services the wider story. I don't know why that's a story we're telling in this season.
But I thought that they did a good job of showing the struggle, because when she drops that cartridge that's in her hand that is the drug that she's been addicted to or tempted by, she has a moment where she decides to drop the drug. And so at the very least, I'm glad that they gave it the weight that it needs to have, because addiction is a very difficult thing to watch. Addiction struggle, I mean, is a very difficult thing to watch for a lot of people in media, because it's so serious and it feels like the resolution takes so much work in personal work and counsel work and repetitious work, and that's not always something that you want to see in your media.
Well, and it's hard to do justice in a short form thing as well, like 50 minutes of TV. There was a beautiful touch where she has the vape pen that she was putting the spice or whatever into in season 1. She still has that while she's on the bridge, but she doesn't smoke from it. It's just in her hand and she's playing with it because that helps the addiction. Like, that's just little touches like that.
Little things like that.
A lot of faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really I
didn't mind that. I like that they did that. But Rafi is like this undercover person who is funded by a secret handler.
Worf. Sorry.
You think it's Worf?
100%. 100%.
How do you think it's Worf?
You are a warrior. They buried that so deep in a female computer voice. He's really abrupt. The lines are really abrupt. Denied. He has a mission. You're a warrior. Just if you just it's 100% Worf. I have no doubt. I will be.
I didn't think about that at all.
No, I don't know what it was. It was when we got to the warrior bit at the end. I was like,
I mean, it makes sense, especially the warrior thing. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Fit into place after he said that.
Okay. So anyway, so she's working for what is technically a secret handler, and she's dialoguing to the computer about her struggles because weapons have been stolen, and the only thing that she knows is that there's something dangerous is about to happen with a red lady. And
my goodness,
I mean,
sorry,
we'll get to the sins of that later. And so she's kind of on a mission to hunt down, intel for that. And she figures it out. She figures out what the red lady means, zips on over to what's it called? I don't remember what the place is called.
Earth?
Is it Earth?
I think she goes back to Earth.
The Frontier District. What's the Frontier District?
No, it's not Earth. It'll be an embassy somewhere. It's on a planet somewhere. Yeah.
To the Rachel Garrett statue.
Yes. Who is someone
later
we know.
On. Is it? Who? I'm just writing stuff down that I see on screen. I have no understanding of what I'm writing down.
So we watched yesterday's Enterprise. So this is when the Enterprise B turns up, and there's the lady captain of the Enterprise who gets impaled and killed. And this is where Tasha has to go onto the ship and goes back in time to fight the Romulans. So this is like an alternate timeline thing where the Enterprise C, appears. It shifts the timeline, but Guinan is the only one that knows something is wrong, and she knows that Tasha should be dead. And Picard's just like, Guinan says, you have to send that ship back. And Picard's like, I'm not going to do it. And she's like, you have to do it. And Tasha goes back on the ship. The captain of the Enterprise C is Rachel Garrett. And she dies when they come under attack.
Oh, yeah. Okie dokie. Yeah. Totally didn't recognize her since she's bathed in blood in this episode.
No, totally fair. Totally fair. Yeah.
Anyway. So Raffi ends up, and I know we're kind of skipping around because other stuff happens in between when she's trying to figure out Red Lady, and then by the resolution by the end of it. But her story in this episode it's interesting. I don't know. She's obviously working for Starfleet, working in a secret ops area of Starfleet, hunting down more conspiracy theory stuff, which she loves.
Dangerous. Like, I'm sorry, but this person who has like an addictive personality, is addicted to I guess she's going to be so determined to get it right, but there is some like level of duty of care stuff that is being ignored here by putting Raffi in this situation.
But I do wonder if my prediction about her son taking more of a dominant role at some point will happen in this season, because I predicted it, which didn't happen. And it was one of my biggest disappointments in a prediction when she goes to see her son and he's pregnant and he's like, I want nothing to do with you because you're a terrible mom, essentially. And she's like, dude, I'm trying. And he's like, too bad. And now we see her also looking at this visual of this little kid kind of like, like playing and stuff. I'm wondering if that's her grandchild. And maybe...
I think so.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's her granddaughter. So I'm wondering if like the son will come back in play somehow, and then my prediction will come true later on.
Yes, very long game you're playing.
Very long game. But she goes and let's just talk about it. She goes and she witnesses this attack, this act of war, which that's definitely a Worf saying. You're right. It's an act of war, and you're a warrior. Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure.
How did you feel about watching this attack?
I love this weapon so much. So I didn't know what the building was. It's it's clear it's got a huge fuck off Starfleet Delta on top of it. It's clearly an important Federation building. And I'm just like, now you're thinking with portals, because I thought it was just like getting detonated or exploded. But then the portal appears above and drops through. It's a double whammy. You fuck that building, and then you fuck the building next to it as well, because you're just going to pick it up and drop it down. It's such a clever, good weapon. I love it so. And it makes sense because she said from the Daystrom Institute, stuff was stolen. Quantum tunneling technology was stolen. Like, it's such a cool, unique weapon. It's not just a big laser beam from the sky. For a second, I thought it was a massive transporter that was beaming everything, but I'm like, no, it's a sinkhole. And then you just open it up over there. Oh, love it.
It was so rad.
So cool.
In the outtakes, please play everyone's reaction, because you and I were watching it simultaneously, and we both had the same reaction because we're like watching it, and then there's this moment where it sinks into the ground. You're like, oh, that's not good.
That's not good.
But then it doubles down and the portal appears in the sky, just sort of dumping all of its contents out in this like epic sort of like destruction. Because the design,
injury.
the design of this CGI thing is so clever, because it really does look like what I would imagine the bottom part of this, I don't even know, institute. Like this huge building, crumbling from its like just bottoming out. It looks really impressive. I was really impressed with it.
To happen. Yeah.
I know, which I mean I've never seen it before. But then I'm watching Raffi's like, what am I watching? And I'm like, I am seeing the same thing you are, and I am just as shocked. And you and I are just like, so play the outtakes, because we were really reacting at that moment.
It's multiple levels of, oh shit, this is a big terrorist attack. And then you realize like the method of the weapon, and it's like, oh shit, this is nasty.
I mean, it's nasty.
This isn't just a bomb. This is a nasty weapon.
And this is where I feel like Picard understands amping up some tension, because there's this weapon that's a pretty big deal, but then they end the episode on the quintessential bad ship showing up. You know, like this gnarly looking spider looking kind of ship that sort of comes out of the nebula, which is super Star Trek. But here it's Star Trek in this really inventive weapon of war way that was totally unexpected. So it's kind of hitting on like new fan levels, and it's also hitting on another bad thing is happening. And so we're in like two different places and bad things are happening everywhere.
I could see this being a movie. Like, this felt on so many levels like the opening hour of a movie. Like, you would trim a little bit to probably get it down to 20, 25 minutes. But all of it was just such a great setup for a movie. It was so, so good. Love that.
Yeah. When she does show up, she does talk about like she's trying to call down to them, and she's like calling down to this space, whatever it is. And it was like just the eeriness.
Already blocked.
Yeah. I feel like, and you'll hear it in the outtakes, I had a very specific response to hoping that the building was empty, but you didn't see any like people walking around. So I'm just like,
nope.
It's I'm coming on the screen like, what?
I wanted to see some little people fall out of the portal. Just like, what's going on?
Oh, no, I know. Someone's on the shitter.
Oh, my goodness. Somebody was. I really think somebody was.
But that's pretty much, Rafi's kind of like story arc here. We don't know how it ties into Picard or how it ties into anything else going on.
Yeah.
But where the stage is set, and I enjoyed seeing Rafi. I don't mind Rafi as a character. I don't mind the actor at all. I think she's just really intriguing to me, and I'm curious how they're going to button her up, or if they're going to take her and put her into another like a series at some point. I think she's probably going to die, honestly. I think
possible.
My bet's on Rafi.
If you're going to kill somebody off, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, so that all ties in. There's just a couple of like little loose ends that I want to tie up, and that was Sydney LaForge, who is the ensign on the bridge that is the pilot of the ship, LeVar Burton's real life daughter. I love it so much. Mm-hmm. So cool. So cool.
It is so cool.
I love.
Yeah, it's nice to see the love of the community. They rehire the same actors for doing different things because there's just such a passion for being in this medium. But now they have all these other options. There's so many actors that are really talented that they could easily involve, and looking for new talent. But to know that there's a lot of talent out there, but to reach for someone who's actually related to one of the actors is just, it's just a fun.
Well, it's also beautiful because in the final episode of TNG, they go into the future, and Geordi has a family, and one of his daughters is named Sydney. Like they've
kept it true.
They've kept the same name as well. I love it so much. So good. My other thing was the amount of Eagle Moss. They were literally Eagle Moss models in that episode with exactly the same stand in the bar behind Riker. Same stand, same ships. I just had like a little geek out of, they're there! They're my ships, they're there. Like, they exist. They're in the canon. I love it so much. However, it's a little bit of a sin, maybe. The fact that Eagle Moss went out of business, those orders are probably belong to someone, because there's a lot of orders that haven't been fulfilled. And I bet those should have been delivered to people. But yes. Any final thoughts before we move into some sins?
Let me take a quick look down the line. I do have a question, I guess. There was a moment when Picard, Riker, and Seven are with Shaw eating dinner, and Picard said something about Deep Space 4 and is corrected by Seven. It's Deep Space 11. Mm-hmm. Is this the writer's attempt to show the degradation of the mind, like to show that Picard is getting older?
I think the problem is he has a golem body. So
but they made it a golem body that was purposefully aged, right?
It's gonna give him another 20 to 30 years of life. Yeah, just of natural life and whatever. But I think it was more that he's out of the loop and that he's trying to bullshit his way into something where he's still a retired admiral, and this kind of just exposes him one more level to Captain Shaw.
Okay.
That's how I read it anyway.
Curious. Yeah, I couldn't tell how to read it. Maybe it's both.
It could be. It could absolutely be both. Yeah, for sure.
There's also a fun moment where Picard and Riker are sharing bunk beds, very Lower Decks-esque, which I really enjoyed because it was sort of funny. Like I think Riker was talking about having to get up and pee a lot in the night, which happens as you get older. And they have these very specific pillows, And I feel like I would be doing a disservice to everyone's spine if I didn't say, get yourself a pillow like this. I have one, and they are
They're actually
so
indented
great.
in. Yeah, they're so good. I need
They're
one.
designed to where if you're laying on your back, it supports the curvature of your neck, and it doesn't allow you to easily like turn left or right. So your head can't you can't be laying on your back and have your neck fully turned to the left or right. It kind of keeps you sort of centered. But if you sleep on your side, you can kip up onto the outer edges of the pillow, and they're firm enough to allow your head to be at a more ergonomic kind of like lateral to the bed sort of vibe.
In line with your
and
spine.
gives your shoulder space so that your shoulder isn't compressed. And I have a pillow like this. So to see those cool, like futuristic pillows on Picard, I was like, I already have one of those. And this is not the 25th century.
Oh my God, we've got it. We're living in the future.
I finally have something from Picard in my actual life.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? I've wanted their shoes. I've wanted their cookware.
Oh,
I've wanted
Riker's
their
uniform.
dinnerware.
Love Riker. Love the new 2400 uniforms. We've changed uniforms so much in the last few years, but this one is equally beautiful. I love it.
How did you feel about Seven's disregard of orders?
I think it tracks. I'm amazed that Janeway and Picard managed to strong arm her into Starfleet anyway. I think there is a little bit of obligation going there where she's like, maybe I can do some good, but I'm not. I am slightly surprised how she did it without talking to them, because she doesn't really know the urgency behind this. Like this could be anything, but the fact that she has already made the decision before she talks to Picard and Riker, because they've turned up on the edge of Federation space, that means she's already decided to ignore him based on who knows what. So she doesn't really know that this is worth risking her career for. It's really complicated because she's clearly not comfortable.
I'm confused too, because I thought she was a ranger.
She was a ranger, yeah. But after the stuff in season 2, she ends up getting into Starfleet and being fast-tracked into command.
But was she already in Starfleet? And then she became a ranger?
No. So she got back from... I think she got back from the Delta Quadrant. I think she tried a little bit, but ended up as a ranger on the outskirts really, really quickly. And
okay. So this is her first time in Starfleet.
Correct, yes.
And she's just not liking it, guys.
No, she's not feeling it. She's really, really not. No.
But I did like her being like, tell me why you're actually here, or I'm going to launch you out of the airlock.
Fuck you up.
And they're like, well, okay. And she's like, this is how I speak to my friends. Deal with it. I'm like, I love it. I kind of loved that. But I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand her motivation exactly. And maybe it's because Shaw is so anti-Borg that she just can't handle it anymore. And she's like, you know what? I'm gonna tank my career for these two people that I recognize their names. Maybe that's a transition into the Sins. I don't know.
And it's a loyalty thing, isn't it? That she has this loyalty to Picard where she will do anything he says on very little evidence. It is a little bit sinny, but we needed to get the ship there, I guess. I guess before we move into the sinning, the very, very last thing is the reveal at the end of the episode that this mystery person on board Crush's ship is her son.
Yeah. Sure was a surprise to me.
Yeah. Did you guess that early on? When did you figure that one out?
I mean, the way that she protected him at the very beginning, I knew that it would be somebody emotional. So I can make an assumption, but it didn't sound very Wesley to me. I think the voice was a little too low. Wesley's voice is a little high. And also Wesley is not really... He's
human
with
anymore.
Soji Maj Taj, as some sort of like whatever watcher being now. Did I do that right? Did I get it right? Did I get the... He's a watcher?
He's a watcher, yeah. No, sorry, he's a traveler.
Yeah, fuck.
It was close.
Ugh. Well, shit. I was close.
Very close. He's a traveler.
Anyway. I thought that was an interesting scene. I really didn't mind Riker and Picard entering into a creepy space. But I wish that would have gone a little bit faster. And because I don't know, to me it was like unnecessary tension since we'd already been in that space.
And they did like the Sherlock Holmes thing of like putting together the evidence that we've already seen.
Let's show the audience they still got it. You know, that kind of thing. I guess
that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But
I did love Riker just clocking him on the nose.
Me too.
Fuck him up.
Beverly is in some kind of a chamber as well. And so she's not quite dead yet, but she's going to be dead soon. And and he's the son. the end of the show. But there's so many things that I have sinful about that particular scene.
Okay.
Or just in general.
Okay. Well, I think
So
that's a
should we
good
go to
place.
battle stations?
Yeah, good place to move on to the sins. We'll see you in engineering battle stations, everyone.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV shows without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. Go
First of all,
for it. Let's do it.
First of all, if you are such a great doctor, you're gonna have something around. How many hypo sprays have I seen in just these few little seasons of this podcast? You know she's got something just handy dandy at the ready to stop bleeding. Why is she
and flood
almost
the room
dead?
with anesthetizine gas as well? And she got shot in the shoulder, not in the stomach. But anyway, I'm sure she got shot a couple times.
Yeah. She did. For sure she got shot. But I mean, still.
You're right. My big thing with this scene is that whenever we see a doctor go to war and go to battle, they find some clever way to do it where they'll use a hyper spray to stun them, or they set the phaser to stun. Something's obviously happened to Beverly where do no harm isn't in her lexicon anymore, and she's just vaporizing people, and she knows that she goes from a stun setting and shoots the guy in the leg and then vaporizes him. Something I hope, and I'm sure it will get explained, but you need a damn good reason for why she is murdering people. Stand your ground should not be a thing on Beverly's ship.
Is that the greater sin, or is it that Riker just touches ash of dead people?
What the fuck was that about?
Why?
I'm just going to dust this up with my bare hands. What are you going to do, lick it?
I mean, it's like he's watching sands, just like he picks up on a beach and is having fond memories. This is someone's charred remains, and he's just it smells a little bit like cedar to me. Yeah, what is that? Is that lemongrass? Yep. I don't know.
It's
so
very,
weird.
very peculiar.
Why the fuck are you touching it? Don't fucking touch that. Anyway, but she does have great hair throughout all of this. I maybe would say how perfect her hair is.
She looks stunning. Perfect hair in this situation.
Perfect hair.
All of the phaser rifle cocking.
I wrote that down.
What is this? Why are you cocking your energy weapon? Why? That's so inefficient. Why do you... the only reason you cock a shotgun is because of the amount of force. You have to load that bullet into the barrel, and it is fucking powerful. Why are you cocking a phaser rifle? Who designed that shit?
Oh my god. So I wondered if it's I wrote it down. She's got a gun, and then the computer says unauthorized docking is complete, intruder alert, and then she has to cock the gun, and it makes a noise. I guess it's for us to know that it's locked and loaded, but it's got lasers, by the way, that apparently have cells that deplete from power. So is it does the cocking charge it, kind of like those flashlights where if you shake them?
It's either powered by a battery or you have to load bullets into it to cock it. I'm sure there's an in-joke that I'm missing there where they just thought, wouldn't it be cool if we had a phaser rifle that you had to cock? It's clearly more powerful than the phaser rifles we've seen before.
It looked fucking badass.
But I think somebody in the writer's room was just like, we want to see Beverly cock a phaser rifle. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, it was alarming and fun at the same time. I would definitely, I love it. I want to watch it again.
Kind of here for it, but it was, cinny.
But also, how many things just inside this ship in general would be fucked. It shows when
so much firing inside, so much.
That opening scene, it looks so badass.
Ship is
ruined. It looks so fucking badass. The sound effects are so fun to listen to, and all I'm thinking about is isn't this important stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. Should everyone be wanting to live beyond this moment? Because sure, maybe you shoot Beverly, but also, how's your oxygen levels or whatever, you know?
That was definitely on my list of sins as well.
She fires this air duct thing for the gas to kind of leak out so she can have a cool cover and kind of come out of it looking like a badass.
Fucking badass, yeah.
She looks so great. But then I'm thinking, good on you for knowing that that's the thing that you can shoot. Good on you for knowing that the phaser laser, whatever it's made of, can penetrate that duct to break it open, but not penetrate the walls with which you're
Yes.
also shooting everything. That later on, it just looks like a little like ashy skid mark on the
Yeah.
side. Because it bounces
Interesting.
off of that substance. But this particular duct is just going to disintegrate, and you're going to
Deliberately
have like a
made
cool end.
weaker in case of invasion and you need to gas
That's
people.
right.
Yeah.
It's part of the training people.
It's interesting. It was fun. It was dumb. And I think that sums up the logic behind the opening scene. The last
The next dumbest thing. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. I'm in the same scene as well, but
Oh, go on.
well, mine was the warping away with a docked ship on you. I'm like, wow, I mean, I guess we're lucky it just decided to let go. Like, that would have easily been, we can't go to warp because it's going to rip the fucking ship apart. But it's just like, whee! The ship just falls off when she goes to warp. Like, it wasn't even connected.
Yeah, it kind of is just like a little tick that just decided it was
Yeah.
going to yeet off of the back of a dog when it
Whee!
runs off. It did look cool.
Oh, it looks fucking cool. But I was like, man,
It looked
I hope
really
there's going to
cool.
be oh, no explosion, nothing. Okay, cool, good. We're fine. Thank goodness.
My next sin is in the next scene, so
Oh, okay, cool. Go for it.
yeah. It's just the whole how are comm badges staying battery powered after 20 years? Is it a battery? Do they just have
Yeah.
forever energy? He receives. It's such a cool premise. I
Oh,
want to
it's
just
cool.
look
We want to see
past
the
it.
comm badge.
Of course. And he like goes to his old like chest and opens it up, and his haphazardly folded uniform.
I mean, why? Why? Is,
Anyway,
yeah.
and then it's like kind of shoved off the side. And I wonder if the satchel that the badge was in was maybe one of the things that he took as part of his outfit when he would go onto the holodeck for some of his, adventures or
Maybe.
whatever. Because it reminded me of the episode where he goes horseback riding and he wears that like open shirt and looks so studly. Like maybe he had that cool like leather satchel in that scene, and that's where the comm badge is. But either way, it's inside this leather thing. He pulls it out and he's like, "Computer, what the fuck is going on here?" And computer's like, "I
Sassy
don't. I mean,
computer,
I
sassy.
I can kind of tell you about it." And he's like, "Why am I receiving a? I don't know why you're receiving a
This is your
transmission. Well,
comm
tell
badge
me
from
what
the
it says."
Enterprise D. Stardate. Yes, I know. It's my comm badge, you dick. Yeah, there was
then
another moment that I just
It's
remember.
like, oh, you want me to detect the long range encrypted transmission
Yes.
that's somehow been Kodak compressed or whatever,
Yeah.
and here we are. Yeah.
There was another moment with the computer being sassy with Raffi, where Raffi's just like, let's run down all of the things the Red Lady could be. And the computer's just like, this is your 23rd search. I was like, the fuck do you care, computer? Like, don't you tell me how many times I'm searching
Oh,
for
so
it.
sassy.
Sorry.
It's like the computer's like, I don't want to do this again.
Can we
And
please search for something else? The fuck does it matter to you, computer?
I did like hearing the comm badge tweet sound.
Chirpy,
It was really
chirpy, chirp.
cute, and I really liked the little chirp, but it was just bad.
It is just the location of it as well, for me, was bonkers. Was like, that was a quiet chirp. Why was it even out? I guess it was out because they're packing things up to leave. But my goodness, that was
Maybe.
lucky. Like, if this is an
Wasn't it?
emergency thing, like, it's amazing that he heard that at all. Like, why not? Oh, there's so much convenience in that one comm badge moment. But I get it. It's fun but dumb.
Yeah. I really also I don't know that there's a sin here, but I certainly wrote it down as a possibility of the line that he and Beverly, quote, tried to be lovers.
Uh-huh.
I kind of want to be like, well, where's that scene? Like, can we see some more of this super failed attempt at
Mhm.
uh-huh. Do you have some scenes in mind, Captain?
Season 7, yeah. Or 6. There is an episode where they try and fail, and it's one that we nearly watched actually in the build up to season to this season, but we'll add it to the list. But it's a good episode. This was just a weird one where Picard is shocked that Beverly doesn't want Starfleet involved because Starfleet can't be trusted. Really, Jean-Luc? Are you really
After
shocked
all that
by
you've been
that?
through.
After all
Yeah.
that you've been through in the last year, in all that you've been through, like, yeah, Starfleet can't always be trusted. That should not be shocking to you. Like, I know we're building it as the mystery, but Picard should be like, that checks out.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about Riker calling anybody that is a professional person a young lady, but he definitely gets pretty
Man,
sassy.
They play on the
at
old
the bar.
man being old thing, don't they? As if he's like
It's
a
kind of
60-year-old
fun.
guy who's like raised in the 30s. Like, we call them all as young ladies.
The scene at the bar with Riker seeing all the ships was delightful, and I did watch you at that part because you looked so entertained.
Funny. Like, don't call it the fat one. Don't you do it? Because it is. It's so chunky. Look at its head. It's so chunky. But don't you do that.
Podcast listener, Ian has just lifted up the starship and showed it to the camera. Live audience is able to see it. It's a little chunky one. Yeah, he turns to the lady and he's like, "That's a galaxy class to you, young lady." And I just, in my mind, I could hear all of the people going, "Yeah, it sure is a galaxy class. It's funny. That's a funny line." I'm just like, just don't call anyone young lady. It'll be fine.
I mean, on the same note, he is disgustingly inappropriate to Sydney LaForge, outing her and her accidents. I'm like, how embarrassing is that? This is your dad's friend that has come to your place of work and told you about a mistake you made at college in front of your fellow crew. That's embarrassing as heck. I would hate Riker for that. Sydney should, like, beam his ass into space. Dick.
Yeah, it's definitely showcasing the retired person who's not taking things as seriously.
Can say whatever they want because they're old.
Yeah, just kind of juxtaposed to the person who's like just trying to get their career up and going, and the difference between. I think it would have. It was like a little cringe, but at the same time, it's nice to know that person's like issues that they had when they were in school aren't entirely holding them back, because she is on the bridge.
Yeah,
so.
She's now piloting a very advanced ship. So I don't know. If you're going to crash, it should be at the Academy. While we're on the Titan, I'm going to be old man yells at cloud here myself. And I know we talked about it earlier, but I do wish the ships wouldn't be so damn dark. I get it. I get that they're dark because when the lights go out, you've already adjusted to the night vision and your eyes are better, and it has to be dark because it makes more sense, and bright lights, blah, blah. But I just want to see the inside of the ship. I just want to see the inside of the pretty ship. Please.
Where's my beige?
I want to see the bridge.
Honestly.
I don't know if it's ever going to happen again. Strange New Worlds is better, but still too dark for my liking. But old man yells at cloud.
I think the hard part for me is that TNG usually makes like dark bridges the bad guy bridges, and then makes the light bridges the good guy bridges. Yeah. And I'm glad that they're kind of changing that up, honestly, because it's just such a thing. Like, it's ingrained in you. And it shouldn't be color-based. It should be action-based. That kind of tells you the gauge of someone's morale.
You think?
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how. So, like, if we're going to be spending time on the Titan, which we don't know yet, if we're going to be spending some time on the Titan, I'm curious what the people of this ship are like, because I really enjoyed seeing the different species. There was some really interesting prosthetic work that was being done. There's a couple people whose like the prosthetic started at the top of the forehead and then it curved and arched down to the tip of the nose with some open slats above the cheek and on the temple. And I thought that was really beautiful. It was harder to see because the dark background. It was like, and there was a lot going on. The camera's moving from thing to thing pretty quickly, but I really wanted to stop and meet these people, which is exciting. It's exciting to feel that. And I wanted all of a sudden for this to be Strange New Worlds again, where we're stopping and we're going to have fun on a ship now. And here's the crew. So I don't know if we're going to come back and meet these people or if it's like a one-off situation. But yeah, I'm kind of curious what their personalities are, because they're obviously a very tight run ship with everything is well-oiled machine, and you've got this really strict captain, but the people who are the crew were still kind of emoting and smiling and showing that they had personality. They weren't all so tight. Well, there's that one guy that gave the side eye when the captain, when Picard and Riker first walked on. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So, and there's the one guy that was at the bar that gave them the side eye when they walked away from there.
I think so. There's a couple. Same person.
I wondered.
I wondered.
Like
okay. It is the same person, because
that was my instinct. I wrote that down, but I'm not.
Tricky
until I watch it again, I wouldn't know. Yeah,
I think that's the same person.
But all that to say, I agree with you. It is a dark ship, but I wonder if the crew is the same. I wonder if they're trying to say something, or if it's just an updated version of what like a ship would be.
I have a lot of hope, because they did a big character profile thing where they did an introduction for each character, like before the show started. So they said, here's this ensign, here's this lieutenant, and it's all the people that we saw on the bridge. So there's a bald female Vulcan. I can't remember if they're female or non-binary. I can't remember, but there's the bald Vulcan person. There's a Bajoran. There is a Halian who we haven't seen in a long, long time. So they've introduced each of these people and given them a bit of background. So I wonder if this is a precursor to like a Star Trek Titan TV show.
Man.
I
Oh,
would
that'd be
love
fun.
that. Mhm.
Well, that's what I was saying is this bridge is built out for more than one thing.
It feels like it, doesn't it? I
it's
really
so
hope so.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I really want to be on this ship a little bit more. I'm itching for Strange New Worlds.
Oh yeah. Well, this is the Star Trek that we love, isn't it? It's a crew on a ship going on adventures, and we really only we have Discovery for that, but in the current timeline, we really only have Strange New Worlds that's doing that. For Prodigy as well. I mean, live action shows. I'm sounding really greedy about my Star Trek, but I just want more, okay?
I just want more, everyone.
I have a super convenient Raffi turning up seconds before the attack. My goodness, like, her whole deductive reasoning for working out what the Red Lady was a stretch. She gets there within seconds to witness it. That's a stretch. It's all a stretch, but it's all at the benefit of the pacing. So we get to the point quickly. You just have to blink along and accept that, yay, she made it just in time to witness the thing.
And though we rarely talk about live chat during the podcast proper, I did want to point out one that was mentioned in chat by Slab, who also on the theme of Raffi, who just leaves the drugs on the ground for anyone to find.
Let some kids
just
find
very
it and start their journey. Yeah.
Yeah. I would also sin in that moment that Raffi, like, is super undercover, and then for the benefit of us, the viewer at home, she like ducks into an alley, straightens up her shoulders, looks really sassy, and then confidently and loudly talks into her. This is a secret, Raffi! Secret, Raffi!
Secret undercover officer Raffi!
Starfleet, are you there? I'm just like, Jesus, where is your subtlety,
Get
woman?
back to the ship. My goodness.
Yeah.
You have a ship.
My God. Like, I know that was for us, and I guess thanks.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Amazing.
Anyway,
Amazing.
what's the other one for you?
I've only got one more. We could spend hours doing this. We really, really could. I have one other big one, which is, are we not using transporters anymore? Not a single transporter beam in this episode. And the thing that stood out the most was when they're approaching Beverly's ship. And I'm like, could you not beam her out? Why did you even have to go into the ship? Beam those life forms onto your shuttle. There was the
Nebulous, dude. The Nebulous.
But there was just a very big absence of transporters in this episode. It just seemed a bit stark to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe I would try to sin kind of towards the very end when Kid Crusher turns dramatically to Picard and Riker and it's like, we're being hunted. And they're like, by whom? And he's like, see for yourself.
Bum, bum,
and, then,
bum.
and then like the slow listen, it looked badass.
It's beautiful.
It looked beautiful. I love the gnarly looking, like, super long spindly legs coming out. It looked evil as fuck.
It looks something between the big Romulan mining ship that Nero has in Star Trek, the 2009 one, the big Romulan ship, and also the Scimitar, which is another Romulan ship. So I'm getting Romulan vibes from this ship. It's similar to designs that we have seen.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar. And maybe that ties back in somehow. We will see. Would we try to send the end credits, which are suddenly no longer Picard music, but are now back to TNG?
I actually forgot.
Should we send that?
I actually forgot to tell you what my biggest sin was, and it's the best thing about the show is that this has got nothing to do with season 1 and 2. Like this could very easily be Picard season 1. Like it has distanced itself so much from season 1 and season 2. The end credits are totally different. They've ditched the Picard theme pretty much entirely other than the whistle. I thought the end credits were beautiful, like just showing us the LCARs display, the computer readouts, the little dribblings of information that we're familiar with. I thought it was beautiful. Interesting choice to put it at the end of the episode. I don't dislike it. And the score was incredible. The score was straight out of First Contact, which is my all-time favorite Star Trek score. It's beautiful.
Man, and I love the visuals too because it was just all, and it's so crisp. Like it's super nice to see how far along we've come with graphics and CGI because it just looks so crystal clear on my screen.
Great definition.
And it's so beautiful, and it's just nice to look at. But it's also not Picard. It wasn't Picard.
That's
and
my biggest
I found
sin.
myself. So I think I would try to sin that, and also sin that Elnor is nowhere to be found. And I would also sin the Google search of the Red Lady scene with Rafi. Those are the last things I would do because like that moment when she's like, I'm going to take a quick look around for Red Lady again. And then she just like pulls up and it's like poppies on her screen, the color red on her screen. It's like she's literally Googling
red things. She's done a Google image search on red. It's also a bullshit code because you don't need to do a landmark. You just give some coordinates in code. This isn't how code works. Like the Enigma machine back in World War II was coming up with better coding than this. The Red Lady. It's such a dumb terrorist code. Like, it should be unfrigging guessable. And you know what? It may as well be because Raffi figures out the mystery too late. And she would have just heard in the news that it blown up. She could have found out after the fact that, yes, this explosion happened behind the statue of Red Garrett, lady, of Garrett, blah, blah, Rachel Garrett. And that's the Red Lady. Great, well done. The terrorists are stupid.
Listen, if this massive statue had been built by Starfleet and she's using a Starfleet vehicle to search for Red Lady, there's no fucking way that giant thing would not have shown up right away. There's no way.
No way. It's insane.
Anyway.
Insane.
That's it from me, though.
Okay, well, we could go on for hours, but let's just have a quick stop to the Captain's Ready Room for some predictions. Welcome to the Captain's Ready Room, where we hit our predictions for the rest of the season, or we bask in the Ambassador's Q-like glory for anything she has predicted so far. None of our original predictions came true in this episode, I don't think.
Yeah, we'll talk about, not yet.
I've given away my big prediction, which is that Worf is the officer, he's the handling
handler.
officer from Starfleet Intelligence. I think that, based on his language, that makes a lot of sense. We already know that any predictions
let's predict how Elnor is going to come back.
He's going to come back and murder. We find out that Elnor has a holographic badge on him that makes him look like Dr. Crusher, and he's the one that's vaporizing everybody. That makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense. Okay.
Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, man. Predictions. It's interesting because they've got this weapon technology that they're obviously talking about, and then there's this, like, what are they going to do with this technology? How is this going to play into, how are they going to get the Titan people and Picard and Riker and Seven and Beverly's son all onto the Titan and tie it into this weapon, and how they're going to have to do something with this weapon, and how does the people who are going for the weapon relate to the people who are hunting them, and does that relate to, like, how are they going to pull all this together? Do you have any predictions for, like, what the next step is going to be?
Clearly somebody that has a murder boner for Starfleet. I don't know why they're targeting Crusher. Crusher clearly knows something sketchy about Starfleet, so maybe this is tied back to, because we know that people, what are they called, the Tal Shiar, and then the other people, the Zat-Vash infiltrated Starfleet in season 1, so maybe there's still some of these evil people in high positions in Starfleet, and that's why it's not Starfleet in general that we can't trust, but it's some infiltrators that can't be trusted. And maybe they're working from the inside out to bring down Starfleet is my very general idea. How we get everybody together from there. I think Captain Shaw is going to have new orders based on the terrorist attack. He will have new orders, and Picard's going to have to come forward with what he knows about Beverly's distress call, and they're going to end up on the Titan, still with Captain Shaw in command, but he's been told to help Picard. It's going to have to tie into Picard specifically.
What if Starfleet completely collapses while they're away, and now they're the top most ranking people?
It would definitely be on brand for it's the only ship in the sector. Who do you think is the father of Beverly's son?
Well, there's like you said earlier, technically there's a lot of different choices, a lot of different options. But I can't stop thinking about how Jack's bag was there. Like, was there DNA in there? Was she able to like replicate a son somehow?
I just don't know why. I mean, I can imagine her being annoyed that Wesley has gone off to do her own thing, and maybe that's why
their own thing.
Yeah, Wesley. Yeah, because he's a traveler now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe she wanted help to find Wesley, and they were all just like, nah, he's off doing his own thing. So maybe she felt abandoned by everybody, and cloned her own son, made her own son.
She could have. Maybe he's an android.
Possible. Seems like a leap.
Seems like he would have said something about it, and maybe not have been able to be punched in the face quite so easily.
Possibly, unless it's an organic. Because we know Sarge and Soji and Daj were indetectable as androids. They had physical bits altogether.
Yeah. So. We talked about that like in excess in Picard season 1 of this podcast.
Yes,
I firmly believe that.
Yep. Do they have cycles and whatnot? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think what the fans are going to want is Picard. I think that it would be really interesting if they never answer that question, though. Because what would it matter is my response.
We all want it to be Picard's son because we want the legacy to go on. We want the family line to go on. Who knows?
I feel like there's going to be a major attack on Starfleet. Starfleet's going to have to come together. We're going to be able to see other people that we haven't seen. We haven't seen Worf or LaForge. We also haven't seen We haven't seen why can't I think of the actor's name who plays LaForge? Why?
LeVar Burton.
Burton. We haven't seen Burton's daughter. The other daughter.
Oh, Mika Burton. Yes.
And I know she's in this somehow.
Yes,
so
she is.
It's not just one.
No,
there's
both
another,
daughters,
right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that. But that's a prediction that shouldn't really count because I kind of just have some and I know information because
I she's working at the museum with him. That would make sense.
But then, I don't know. How is this going to end? How does this wrap up? Will Deanna come back? What about the children? Are we going to see Rafi's son? Are we going to see Riker's daughter again? How and where and why
and who
how
and why
who and when
how
and what and how.
It's set up some good mysteries. I think we'll get a lot more in episode 2. Obviously, that's going to set up a lot more for the rest of the season. I'm excited.
Can we also make an assumption that at this point the Android, the ban on the droid stuff is going to be done now, and maybe there's going to be some advancements there again? Because
that has been lifted. That was lifted at the end of last season. So I would love to explore that more. Again, this is where I hope we go with the Star Trek Titan series. I would love that so much. I want to get into the 2400s people.
There's no way that they built that whole ship with it just for one season of Picard.
I hope not. I hope we do get it.
I don't know. We'll see.
I hope so.
We'll see.
Okay, bumper, massive episode, unsurprisingly, as we kick off the biggest Star Trek event of the decade. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Thank you, everyone in the live show for joining us. We will be back live on YouTube Live and Twitch, roughly 12:30 Central Time, every Friday, the day after each episode of Picard launches. And if we're seeing you on the podcast, thank you for downloading the podcast. There is an army of you listening to us, and we appreciate you so much. We love you.
Yeah.
Any suggestions for the show, email them to captainspod, damn it. Captainspod at cinemasins.com. Suggestions for the show, anything you want to hit, nailed it. So professional. We love you. We appreciate you. Anything else before we sign off, Ambassador?
No, I would just say we do have a lot of new listeners who are going back and finding our content on season 1 and season 2 of Picard, and we expect that's probably going to be the case when Strange New World starts again. So it's nice having you guys along. We invite you to the live show, as Ian said, but also if you want to share this podcast with your friends and give us a rating or review on where you listen, specifically Apple Podcasts, it does help us out.
It really does.
That we can collaborate with other great Star Trek fans and spaces, and maybe bring some really fun interviews to you guys in the future too. So
absolutely. Well, until then,
What are you about to say?
I'm never present for the start of a meal because everyone already starts because my reputation precedes me. From me.
And I have 2 quotes, so I'll say one. Come on, Admiral, show your inspection face, or if I were you, I'd lower my expectations for me.
Out my knees. And live long and prosper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through captainspod@cinemasins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
Testing levels. A British tug is a soaring... I wish I knew the words to that. I only know the kind of words that I kind of learnt from Insurrection. See if I can Google them. A British tar? Oh, a tar, not a targ. I always thought he said a British targ, which doesn't make sense now that I think about it, because targ is a Klingon animal. Let's have a look. Lyrics. Chicka chicka slim shady.
Shit, I'm late. Good. And it's on a big day, too. It's Picard Day! Let's go! I'm fine. Oh, no, I have to pee. Oh, no. Captain Whittington, I have to pee. Permission to come onto the bridge and then immediately leave the bridge.
Oh, I thought you were about to say permission to come onto the bridge and immediately pee. But I feel like if I stall you any longer, that might be what happens. So yes, go pee.
Okay.
It's the door to the stage left.
It's not the door that goes down to the battle bridge.
No.
It's the one directly adjacent to it.
Up the ramp.
Up?
From that, yeah. So if you're looking at Picard sat in his chair, okay. Chaos as always.
Can I eat chips on the show? How does this sound?
You can't
Is that
do that.
Appropriate?
Especially when they're falling out of your mouth. No.
Hey, listen, I'm a cookie monster, bitch.
Nom, nom, nom. I'm not a fan of kettle cooked. I'm really not. They taste...
You don't want to...
No, they're too oily and like...
Yeah, that's what's good about it. Is you're eating really crispy grease, right?
Yeah, they're greasy and they're like too crisp, and I don't like them. I don't like them.
Well, that's good to know, because that means that when you come over to my house again, you're not going to be eating my snacks.
I had a dream. I got to America. We went straight to the groceries, and I ran straight to the Ruffles. And I was just like, there we go.
You had a dream about Ruffles?
I dreamt about Ruffles, the really dank, spicy ones. Those Ruffles are so
those like
damn
nacho
good.
cheese ones. Those things are disgusting.
A shade of red on them that is just unnatural and
Unholy,
not found anywhere in nature, and I love them. Oh,
No.
Ruffles. Ruffle me. Oh, it's a good dream.
Wow.
Enjoyed it.
Do you mean leave you alone? Is it that kind of a dream?
Ruffles?
I don't know. It's kind of
It's
kind of crossing a little bit of a barrier there, buddy.
Food porn. Ruffles.
I'm just eating so fast.
You didn't need to eat fast. You could have eaten through the episode as well.
I was so hungry.
Good.
It's like
Eat
once
fast.
I started, it was like it turned into a... Is it Jigglypuff?
Jigglypuff is a Pokemon. Yeah.
The one with like the pink ball that just opens its mouth and just sucks in food.
Oh, no. You're thinking of Kirby.
Kirby!
Uh-huh.
I am Kirby.
I speak Deneé.
Okay. Let's do this shit. Okay, Beverly. I guess we're just starting off like that.
Right. Kicking all the ass.
Did you know that was about to happen?
Nope. No idea.
All right. I believe you. Oh.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
It's a portal. Oh.
They were all on lunch break, right?
I would assume so.
Oh, my God. It's the son of the candle fuck. I knew it.
Fuck yeah.
It's the ghost man
It's
is a
not
daddy.
the ghost's son.
It's the ghost son, and you know
No,
it.
it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
It's true.
It's not.
Shut up. You don't know. Should we go live now and start the show?
Do you mind if I pee and then like grab a coffee and then do it?
I fucking mind if you pee.
It'll be like
we'll
2
take
minutes.
a pee break during the show, you know. Oh, buddy, was that too loud for your sensitive little puppy ear? Oh, just got me. Just got me. You gubba gubba dubba. Oh, you gubba gubba. How am I supposed to focus on my job when you're so cute? I cannot handle it. I can't. You're so cute, little Pippi. Do you want to be in my lap the whole show? Is this what's going to happen this time? I wish people could see your face. Oh, and Reese's has arrived. And now Reese's has my hands. And you don't have my hands on your body. So now you're getting more aggressive because you want the... Oh my gosh. Boys. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. Okay. I have an idea. How about I just go take a nap and we all snuggle cuddle in the bed. Reese's and Twix and Deneé. Snuggle butters. Hey, also, I pet you guys a lot with lots of like massages and snuggies and pets and scritches and scratches and all that stuff. And y'all don't do shit for me, okay? Like, I love that I have a little warm, cuddly body to snuggle with, but you don't do shit for me, you know? You don't massage me back. Gubby, little Gubby Doodle, little Mr. Schnoodle. Oh, this would be a good time for me to organize my notes, wouldn't it?
Oh my goodness. What is happening
I have trouble.
on the ambassador's lap?
I have 2 dogs that are, we're not live. Go on.
Fucking hell. What is happening?
Go on.
I pressed the go live button. Okay, let's try that again. What is happening right now?
Why can't I hear you?
Oh.
Why can't I hear
We're
you?
muted. We're muted. We're unmuted now.
Oh.
What is happening?
So on Twitter, I posted a picture of my chaotic cutting of a piece of pizza, right?
Oh, it was disgusting.
It's, who cares? Who cares how you cut pizza? A lot of
you
people
care because
apparently,
you shared it. If you didn't
I thought it
care,
was
you
great.
wouldn't have shared
I
it.
thought it was
would just be
great.
normal.
I was like,
you know it
chaos.
was fucked up. That's
It was
why you
chaos.
shared it.
No, listen. I'm posting through it, and it says at the bottom of my post something like reveal hidden tweets or something, or hidden responses, or something about
interesting.
muted or quieted.
Okay, somebody that you've muted?
I clicked it, and apparently at some point I muted JetSmets.
The shade!
I don't know how that happens at all.
No. I don't know how that happened.
I don't.
Wow. This is how we treat the
Why
fans.
would I tell on myself if I knew how?
Wow.
I had no idea. Jets, I was like, oh my God, it is no wonder that I haven't seen anything from you. I don't even know in how long. I don't know how it happened.
Wow. That is an active thing to mute someone. You have to go through a couple of options to get there. It's not just like, oh, I accidentally clicked mute. Oh, final sin that we did miss. No Agnes. No Agnes Girardi either.
No
Fucking love
Agnes.
Alison Pill. My girl.
Oh,
For the record, I did not steal my Worf prediction from anyone. Just because you guys predicted it too, as soon as I saw Warrior, I was like, it's Worf. That's how you bring Worf in.
someone sound guilty?
I'm not stealing
Someone sounds so
everything,
guilty.
okay? I do have my own thoughts, you bastards.
All right, well, let's get through some of these comments. First, I want to point out that JCD's Star Trek trivia question of the day is, what is the name of Captain Archer's pet beagle?
Porthos.
So you can... Oh, okay.
Okay. Whoops.
I was going to say, chat, do you want to guess before
Sorry.
Ian does? But Ian has jumped the gun. That's now
Not
done.
Porthos. Sorry.
Here's from Zinc says, just reviewed the footage. Bard Dude and Titan Dude do not look like the same person at all.
Oh, interesting.
This is good information.
Thank
so they're
you.
not
My
the
mistake.
same.
My mistake.
I like it.
Link says, will the Derp Prize make an appearance at Sin Week? Fine.
No.
Oh,
No,
it won't.
no.
Oh, shit.
No.
Shit.
No. Listen, let me tell you something about the Derpa Prize, guys.
Uh-huh. Oh, you
This
think it's too
thing-
fragile to travel?
This thing could be sneezed upon and fall apart. Like, look at it. It is
It's not.
so
Fine, I'm going to
wonky.
paint
It is.
it.
This is clay. No, you're never painting this. This is what it looks like.
Remember
In
when
fact,
it
I
was
wish you wouldn't
flesh-coloured?
have painted
Yeah.
yet.
You want to
Because
keep
it was
it flesh
this
coloured?
awkward flesh color.
Somebody said it looks
This
like the
is
Titan. It kind of does. It kind
barely
of does
held
look
together,
like the
guys.
Titan.
Look at this thing. It is.
You guys are the worst.
Link asks, whatever happened to the Enterprise after Picard left the ship? Is it still around in the show's timeline?
So there is some ancillary media that went up on Instagram. I won't get too spoilery, but the Enterprise E has been retired. And there is currently an Enterprise F out there somewhere, but we know very precious little about it. But we know what happened to the Enterprise E after Picard left it. We still don't know any of that.
What if Picard went back in time, messed things up, and Data comes back to life and takes over Lore's body, says Link.
Mind blown.
No,
Mind blown.
don't do it, right?
Data's wrapped
Don't
up.
do
He's
it.
done. They're not going to do anything else with Data.
No, because you have to let him have his death so that he has his humanity, right? Like that was the whole thing.
He wanted it. He wanted to die. He doesn't want to be
That's what he
brought back.
wanted.
Yeah.
So
It
if
would
you
be
bring him
broken.
back, it's such a way to disrespect the character,
It
in
would
my
be.
opinion.
Yeah,
I don't
totally
know.
agree.
Maybe I'm wrong about that because I love Data. Super, super love Data. But they need to find another android, honestly. They need to bring in another android character
Let's do it. More
that
androids.
can move the android into this next phase.
Agree.
Eights asks, has Wesley seen his mom since he became a traveler? Do you know the answer to that?
Yes, I do. In Nemesis, he is present for the opening scene of Nemesis. No spoilers because the ambassador hasn't seen that movie, and we will see it at some point. But yes, they have seen each other on screen in canon.
On Mondays, pretty consistently for the last month, Chris has been playing Last of Us. I believe he intends to continue to try to do that.
Yep.
You can watch our schedule on this channel for updates on Chris playing Last of Us on Mondays. He starts around what time?
He starts at 7:30 Central and plays up
Yep,
until
and he'll-
about 11:30 to midnight roughly.
11, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been making his way through Last of Us. You can kind of look into some of our videos, our VODs to see his vibe. Just a chill, laid back Chris playing video games.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
Are you planning on trying to jump on and stream anything in the next week?
So next week, I'm not firmly committed now because timelines are messy, but I'm going to be starting to stream some Minecraft because I'm a 14-year-old boy and I adore Minecraft. I haven't played in about 8 years, long time. So I'm going to be diving back into some Mario Kart. Damn it, it's because you just put it on screen. Some Minecraft.
I got you.
I'll
Sorry.
build whatever you want me to build, or I'll just be exploring. It's just going to be a really, really, really chill stream. Mario Kart will be as and when we really want to do it, but we don't know when. Well,
I done fucked it up, Captain.
welcome.
Hi, Captain. Hi, Captain. Am I gonna be your twangy ambassador for this season of Captain's Pod? Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. Do 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 do. Shooby dooby doo doo doo. Shoo dooby dooby doo bada boo boo bada boo woo. Shooby doo woo.